Sadly, after breaking up or going no contact with a narcissist, they often try to suck you back into the abusive or unequal relationship in many different ways. When having to deal with a narcissist, it is thus important to learn about and be aware of this specific type of manipulative behavior called hoovering. When you managed to go no contact, which can be a very challenging and long process, it's essential to keep it that way in order to protect yourself and your energy. In this video, I will go into 10 examples of hoovering in order to illustrate the variety and scope of this behavior. I also made another video in which I go deeper into the challenge of hoovering and how to possibly deal with it. I hope this video can be helpful to you. Now, hoovering basically is a narcissist trying to trick you or bait you into breaking no contact and re-engaging with them. If they succeed, you will be sucked back into the cycle of abuse or an unequal relationship. Hoovering is thus an attempt to restore the lost emotional or narcissistic supply you were to them. Often, they will try anything to get your attention and engagement again. To create an overview, I have categorized the hoovering examples into 3 categories, which are positive, negative, and random hoovering. I will start with positive hoovering examples, in which the narcissist attempts to suck you back by using positive or kind behavior. Positive hoovering methods could be seen as an attempt to repeat the idealization stage of the narcissistic abuse cycle. Mostly, hoovering will start on the positive side, and when not successful, it could switch directly into negative hoovering methods. Now, the first example is love bombing, which is a classic form of hoovering. It's an attempt to influence you with love, attention, and affection. It's a form of conditional love that fits in the idealization stage of a relationship. They could thus try to start the abusive cycle again by basically starting again with idealizing you. Examples could be the narcissist trying to give you gifts with no strings attached, praise you for standing up for yourself by breaking up, or they might declare their newly realized love for you. The second example of positive hoovering is false promises and apologies. A narcissist could try to convince you of how sorry they are and state that they have really changed. They could ask or beg for another chance to make things right. Although a true narcissist will never take sincere responsibility, they will use false and quick apologies or possibly take the blame in an exaggerated manner. Their apologies, however, will never be backed up by actions or true change. A narcissist can be very convincing, which could make it very hard not to believe them. It's thus important to recognize whether these types of apologies or promises happened before, and if they then changed their behavior. If they didn't in the past, you can trust on that behavior and nothing will change. You will see whether it's sincere when you observe and judge on actions and long-term behavior and not on words. Questions you could ask yourself if you find this challenging are: does their behavior align with their words and promises? Did I believe him or her before in the relationship, and did I make a right judgment then? If you want to believe this person or have doubts whether this person is manipulating you or is a narcissist, you need to state clear boundaries to yourself and clearly write down the promises and keep bringing it up. You will see soon enough whether words are true or not. Beware of not fooling yourself and stay focused on the actual behavior shown. Now, the third example is a specific form of hoovering, which is the narcissist remembering special occasions and important dates or events. They could ask you about specific events or wish you luck with something that is important to you. They love to use a birthday, holiday, or possibly your kids' activities to make contact. It's a way of trying to stay involved and show their attention is with you. Now, these first 3 examples were positive behavior in order to gain attention and re-engage. The next category is negative hoovering methods, where a narcissist uses negative behavior. It means they will try to use your vulnerabilities, pity, and negative emotions. These methods align with the manipulations used in the devaluation stage of the cycle of abuse. The next example is using emotional triggers of guilt and shame. A narcissist loves to use negative feelings such as guilt or shame to manipulate you into re-engaging. A narcissist has many techniques and ways to try to emotionally trigger you and make you engage. A narcissist has no boundaries and could, for example, try to use your children to trigger guilt, worry, or any response. Other examples are the use of the silent treatment, or a narcissist could abandon you in order to trigger a fear of rejection or abandonment. There are many different methods they could use, and it will probably be personalized to your fears, weaknesses, or doubts. It's therefore important to stay aware of whether they trigger you in some way and why. Try to observe yourself when you're triggered. Allow the emotion and then decide you're choosing a different path and responding is not worth it. Decide you will protect your energy and not re-engage. Know you have the control and strength to make this decision. The fifth example is that a narcissist could fake injury, vulnerability, depression, or helplessness. They will do so in order to try to make you worried about them and seduce you to reach out to help them. If your quality or wish is to help others, they are likely to abuse that quality. A narcissist, sadly, is able to lie about medical conditions, an emergency, or use threats about hurting themselves or committing suicide. They might say you're the only one that understands them, and they are alone in this world if it wasn't for you. A narcissist thus asks for help in many forms, and this can be very challenging. It can be useful to recognize whether you're sensitive for this and if you have a strong wish to help others. No, it's a beautiful characteristic, but keep reminding yourself you need to protect yourself as well. You will be able to help others in a better way if you're in a better place yourself, which is without a narcissist. You don't need to help others if you have to cross your own boundaries to do so. This can be unhealthy, and a narcissist will sadly abuse this characteristic. The sixth example is that a narcissist could try to provoke you in order to make you angry and respond. This is not a form of using emotional triggers and trying to get an emotional reaction. This method is more verbally aggressive, in which they might make all kinds of accusations, devalue you, or attack your reputation. There could be smearing as well. The seventh example is triangulation or hoovering by proxy. A narcissist uses so-called flying monkeys, which are people in their environment they can control, to reach you and convince you to react and engage. This could be, for example, the narcissist using your friends or family to tell you about how broken they are or how they regret what happened. The flying monkeys might try to convince you the narcissist has changed, or say how they loved you as a couple. Often, the narcissist will play the victim or hero to create outside pressure on you. You can learn more about triangulation in some other videos on my channel. The eighth example, and last of the negative hoovering methods, is that a narcissist could use gaslighting as a form of hoovering. They could act as if the relationship hasn't ended and you're, for example, simply going through a phase. They might pretend you're overreacting and not acknowledge that you ended the relationship. It's a form of gaslighting, and it could make you doubt yourself about what exactly happened. You can learn more about gaslighting in my video about this subject. Now, the last two examples are the random hoovering methods, in which a narcissist contacts you without you directly seeing a motivation behind it. Mostly, this is an attempt to test the water, and they see if they can get an initial response. An example of this is waiting for a long time before making an attempt to reconnect with you. It can then seem very random if they decide to hoover you and get into contact again. Mostly, there's a reason or need for them to re-engage at that specific time, such as a breakup or a lack of narcissistic supply. And the last example is getting random, small, and accidental messages. This could be a simple text saying, "Hi, what's up?" or "A long time no talk," as well as more personal messages such as, "I drove by the bar where we met and thought of you." They could also ask random questions to get some response, such as asking for a name of a restaurant or a recipe they liked. Lastly, you could receive an accidental call or text. So, to conclude, there are many different forms of hoovering and it can basically occur at any time. This is what makes hoovering so challenging and hard to deal with. It's essential not to fall for it, because things will only get worse than before. To do so, it would be great if you managed to focus on growing yourself and thus shift your attention to yourself. No, it's very tough to deal with hoovering and it's okay if you re-engage before. Recognize it's a mistake, but don't blame yourself for it. Use this energy to try again. It's important to be compassionate and kind towards yourself in this process. Keep taking care of yourself, and consistent small steps in the right direction will get you there. You can learn more about the challenge of hoovering and how to possibly deal with it in my next video recommended here. I hope this video can be helpful to you, and I wish you strength and kindness in the future.